Welcome back, everybody, where Paul personally broke windows, and I'm going to blame him.
This is why I don't go away, Brad.
All right. You step out of the office, and
You are curiously
you know,
off center there.
yeah. You want to know why, Paul? You want to go there?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Dear Microsoft, every time you force an update down, whether it be Patch Tuesday or an update, my whole entire audio stack breaks, which breaks XSplit, which means I have to rebuild it before each podcast, which is what I just did. And now Paul is complaining, and I want to murder him.
I missed you.
Also curiously bright, which is...
Oh, boy. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should be. How was the flight back?
I endured it, I think is the way to put it. We booked these tickets because they were super inexpensive. I believe they were $250 originally.
Wow.
And but we also booked them because it was Norwegian Airlines, which has all these beautiful new Dreamliner, or Dreamliner, whatever the plane's called. And when we went out to Stockholm over the summer, we were on these beautiful new planes. It was wonderful. A couple of weeks before the trip, we got a text message from Norwegian that said, unfortunately, they're having engine problems with these planes, I guess. So they handed this thing off to what I believe was Bob's Airline from Portugal. And it was the type of the plane we were on was the type of plane you would typically take within Europe between second-rate airports. So you'd be like on Ryanair or something, and you'd be going from like Lyon, France to, I don't know, Venice or something, or whatever. And for a flight that's like an hour and a half, or these kind of flights, like it doesn't matter, it's fine. When you're flying for 8 hours over the ocean, I'm sure you saw the photo of my knees like against this thing. The way out, I should say, we actually ended up getting an exit row seat, and so there's plenty of room. Although it was that kind of constrained seat with the hard sides that you can't really wiggle around in, but it was fine. We weren't able to for some reason on the way back, but so we're in kind of coach class, middle of this plane terribleness, and there's like a metal bar going across my knees. I literally couldn't straighten my legs. And nor could I move them much. I could tell the woman in front of me was not particularly happy with me because I kept moving around. But it's like, honey, sorry. First of all, thank you for jamming your seat back right into my face. But like I have nowhere to go, And I actually, it's funny. Like, well, it's not funny, but there was a French couple next to me, and they didn't speak very much English, and we were talking. And they were nice, and it was fine. But it's like a night flight, and if you were to look back, which I did, on the entire cabin, there's only one light on, and it's on her, like right next to me. So at some point, like I wanted to go to bed, try to sleep, and I looked at, she's reading a book, so I'm like, okay, whatever. But I had a mask, so I had to go up into the giant bin and my thing, and I put my mask on, whatever. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm woken up by a very animated discussion that's going on. And I like put my thing over, and it's the guy and the woman, the couple. The guy is talking really loudly at her, and he kind of sees me looking at them, and I said,
"Yeah,
shut up, turn off the light," and then I put my thing back on, and they did. They acquiesced to that request.
Oh, fantastic!
2 o'clock in the morning, like seriously. So anyway, there was no traffic home from the airport. That was nice.
When did you get home?
It arrived at 10:30 in Newark. Actually, we were the only plane that went through customs, so there was no wait. It's wonderful. I've never had an experience like that. No traffic on the way home at all. 78, lots of big trucks and stuff, but no one in the way, so that was nice. But we were home probably at, I think, 12:15, which is honestly kind of a record time driving from there.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, did I say 11:15? Sorry, 12:15.
Oh, 12. Okay, yeah, that's still not bad. Not as bad.
But yeah, it was just I was interested to see because I did sleep some. I slept some. I would guess 4 hours of fitful sleep. And I looked at Fitbit this morning. I'm just curious, what it registered. 0. You did not sleep, not by any normal terms. So I tried, but the trip was great.
Well, good. Good. At least you're back for like what, a week?
3 days, and then on Saturday, Coach. I know. we booked this seriously like in July or June or something, and then much more recently, we were invited to go to Dublin, Ireland for a work trip, and it just didn't. So obviously, I thought about staying in France, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. Like you'd have to pay for a hotel. I think about it, it would be like, like what is this? Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. That's 4 nights at a hotel in Paris. I mean,
Plus
I'd love
food.
to. Oh yes, and then the standard 100 euros a day for eating in Paris. Yeah, I'd love to. Don't get me wrong. I would.
He's gonna move there. I'm calling it. Your kids will be gone, moved away, whatever, and you're gonna be in Paris.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's my personal goal. Yeah.
Okay.
How is it back here in the United States? Have we been destroyed by another hurricane yet, or?
Actually, well, Florida's about to get Rochambeaued by Hurricane Michael. So if you're down in that area, please don't watch this and shelter in place probably at this point because it's going to hit.
Actually, maybe that thing's going to coast just in time to screw up my next trip.
Fantastic. This is.
Right, look at that.
Well, yeah, I think you'll be okay. I think it'll be south of you.
Okay.
Maybe you'll get some turbulence flying out or whatever. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's. Who knows?
But you know what? The big thing, though, with me being gone was a lot of stuff happened.
A lot of stuff did happen. I wrote a lot in the book. I was like, why am I getting so much done? I was like, oh yeah, Paul's not harassing me every 18 seconds with.
Wow. Most fondly remembered as productivity suck. That's like...
More than likely, when you're in Ireland, I might finish this book.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
fine.
So if you could go away for a while. But yeah, a lot of stuff did happen. So Microsoft pushed out a bad Windows update, and then they pulled it back, and then they fixed it, and then they're pushing it out again, hoping that they think they've got it fixed, which is...
if only we listened to feedback. You know, maybe we could have nailed it the first time around.
This is... And I'm hoping with new management this is going to change. And I know I've said this about 9 times before. Just ship an annual update. It works really well for Android. It works really well for iOS. It works really well for macOS. Microsoft is in a race to prove that Windows is better.
Yeah, a race with whom?
Exactly. You know, like they own. I mean, they own 90% of the desktop.
No one's breathing down their back here.
Right. It's. Yeah. I don't know. And there was a livid, I guess, discussion on Twitter about saying that longer testing wouldn't have solved this. I don't think that's true.
The way I would say it is better testing would have solved it. So, I mean, this is an issue I've raised again and again. First, that the Windows Insider program is incapable of meeting the needs of the wider community of users, just from sort of a feature standpoint, and has proven itself incapable of testing new Windows versions to any degree of reliability compared to what things are like in the outside world. That's not their fault. You know, beta programs in the past always failed at that as well. There's just something about, you've got some audience of whatever size, you test something, it seems like it's fine. You throw it out to the real world, oh crap, there are problems. But, you know, Microsoft brags a lot about its, AI prowess, one thing, but also its telemetry data and the ability it has to act on that data. And that's the second problem. You know, having data is wonderful. Not looking at it correctly is the problem. And, you know, we now have a million examples of this, unfortunately. The big one being, I guess it was it a year ago, that update went out that was crashing Kindles and had all these other endemic problems, all of which were, in fact, reported by insiders and just never acted on. Well, that's what happened again this time, right? I think Microsoft was embarrassed by what happened in the spring where they had to delay the thing almost a month. And they were like, we're going to hit this thing. They actually skipped a phase of testing, the release preview milestone. They skipped it so they could arbitrarily hit some bizarre date that meant nothing to anybody. So there's a lot of psychology to it as well. And there's a hubris is maybe not the right word, but there's almost like an institutional mentality that is not healthy, and it needs to be stamped out.
I agree. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
It's too bad.
Yeah, we will see what happens with the next update, which, yeah, you know, it's coming in the spring, and they're going to hit that deadline, hell or high water, which is...
You know what the irony is here is when you look at what's happened to Microsoft this year, not to Microsoft, to Windows this year. In some way, we've returned control of the operating system, the technical part of the operating system, to the adults, which I think we all applaud. The guys running Azure, which used to be a servant tool business, should be running the core of Windows. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the part that's been screwed up, at least partially. I mean, if you would, I don't know exactly where the testing part of this falls under, if it's falling under the experienced people, they need to fix that because that's not working. On the other hand, the thing I had been complaining about with Windows 10 for the past couple of years before that, which is all this nonsense stuff that they're adding to the operating system, they actually fixed that this year, right? So as goofy as these two releases have been from a kind of a quality perspective, actually from a usability perspective, just from like the perspective of what they put in and what they didn't put in, these are the best two versions of Windows ever. And I don't know how to resolve what I just said. It's kind of weird. I mean, like the part of the company I don't trust is doing a bang up job apparently, and the part I do trust, I don't know what's going on over there. So, yeah, welcome to my world, I guess, our world.
Yep. Anyways, I'm still annoyed about the audio stack issue because somebody told me that was going to be fixed, and I'm just sitting here thinking it's not. It's not.
It will be fixed, Brad. Didn't say when.
Eventually. But I don't know.
Did you submit something in the feedback hub? I hear that is the way to get things done.
The funny thing is they introduced a new functionality, which is, I think, severity, and there might be another metric that you can now rate. But that's the same problem they're going to have before, is everyone's going to say, oh, look, the context menu on the desktop doesn't match the one in File Explorer. Severity
10.
Yep. Like it's,
Yes.
It's not going to solve this issue. It'll be
everyone's problem is severity 10, no matter how.
Well, my audio stack is severity 10 because it impacts me. But that's just the issue though. Like if it's impacting you, everyone's going to say this is a huge issue. And granted, whether or not it is.
You know what this is really? This is tied to something very basic, and I mention this concept of finishing a job all the time. Microsoft's corporate culture is such that people are rewarded for new things that are exciting, and make news. Fixing Windows doesn't make news. There's not going to be a New York Times cover story about how, hey, Windows is 10% more reliable this year. It's pretty cool. There's no benefit to this from a corporate career path or whatever. And then these things fall by the wayside, right? So what you're seeing with this audio stack thing is related to something I see every time I install a new build of Windows 10 in the Insider program, or as a normal person install a new version upgrade, a feature update, which is that, yes, some things come forward for sure, but a lot of things don't, So if I've been say I've been saving downloads from the browser to the desktop, when I reset, that goes away. It goes back to the normal location. When I go to save a file for the first time, it gives me a view of computer, which has these high-level folders and views, but you can't actually save something there. So because I'm so used to that view always being the same, wherever I put it, I automatically hit enter to save it, and it says, you can't save here. To which I always say, well, why did you show me this view? Why did you present me with something that I can't use, like as the default? But it's restoring these defaults, right? Office is like this as well. Office does a kind of a cool job of syncing some of your settings and between devices and installs. But if you use something like Microsoft Word and you go into options and you're like, well, I want these autocorrect things to work this way and these autocorrect things to work this way, whatever you might change, and then you go install Office on a different computer, those things don't sync across. Only some of the things do.
Right.
Figuring out what syncs and what doesn't sync and what changes on an upgrade and what doesn't is a career. And in some ways, you could kind of be cynical and be like, oh, thank God for Microsoft. They give us stuff to talk about all the time. I'd like them just to fix this crap, but I don't think culturally they're capable of doing it. It's just the same. What we're really complaining about when you have this audio problem, it's the same complaint over and over again. And will they ever fix it, really? I don't think so.
Yeah. And what's the incentive to fix it? Because for the consumer side, it doesn't matter. You're going to go buy a new build, whatever, or buy a new machine. The corporate side, there's absolutely incentive to fix it, but maybe that's when the fix will apply. But I digress, Paul. Thankfully, you got your iPhone review up in time. That was well timed.
I meant to do this a week ago. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I thought I was going to Europe the day after I was really going, and it kind of screwed me up. But yeah, that's okay. It let me do a few more photo comparisons. I didn't waste my entire trip walking around taking 2 pictures of everything. I'm sure that would have been beneficial on some level, but it was really it was literally a vacation. I was trying to actually enjoy myself. But yeah, I mean, the one thing I did come to with the camera, and I think this is something, now that you have the phone, I'm sure you'll kind of agree with this, is like, there are specific little things with regards to the camera in particular, which is a big deal for me, where, I kind of look at the Pixel and I'm like, I just like the way this does this better, this one thing, low light, whatever it might be. But when I look at the photos, and I showed this to my wife, I took a picture of like a dawn light, sun coming up in the sky kind of thing. And I was like, I said, look at the picture and compare it to real life. I mean, the iPhone captures that thing realistically. The colors are right. The darkness of the various parts of the photo are correct to what you see in real life. And then you look at the Pixel and you're like, hey, I just kind of like this one better. It's kind of, but I don't know that everyone has that same reaction to it. Like there are probably photographic purists who prefer non-HDR photos or something. They don't want to use the oversaturated screen type or whatever. I don't know, but overall, I mean, the iPhone is clearly the best smartphone in the market. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it kind of continues that role of, it's a good Toyota Camry or Honda Accord, right? It may not excel, it may not have the best camera, which the Pixel line does, but it's going to have a better overall experience. I don't know.
It depends. It depends on your needs.
Yeah.
I think, from a performance standpoint, this kind of thing matters because the camera on my Pixel 2 XL is so slow. And this has happened to every Pixel, every Nexus before it. It's just a thing. Android. I think it's, Apple talks about their chips, and if you look at benchmarks, they're like 10 times as fast as Qualcomm chips or whatever. Not really, right? But the thing is, realistically, like real world hardware plus software, real world just using the thing. Oh, look, there's something I want to take a picture of. You bring it up. The iPhone never falters. Like it's. The Pixel, I can't even tell you how many times I've rotated the screen to take the photo, and then I have to hit that icon on the screen, and it kind of herky jerks. And then I hit the screen because I know where it's going to be, and then I hit the search box by mistake, and I'm looking at like a white screen sideways, and I'm like, I want to take a freaking picture. Like it's the picture I finally take, gorgeous, but it is an exercise in frustration.
Yeah, that's actually the reason why I ended up getting a new phone was when we were at Disney World with the kid using the iPhone 7. Opening the camera app was starting to show a little performance issues, and I actually was getting really annoyed with it, and that's what finally pushed me over the edge. Yeah, I mean,
to me that stuff is night and day between Android and iOS. It's just night and day.
And so, which what did you order yesterday? From the airport in France?
That worked out amazingly well. So when I heard this Google event was going to be that day, and I kind of looked at the schedule, I was like, I'm going to be in transit. There's no way. I'm not going to be able to see this till I get home. And that's going to stink because I've ordered Google phones on day one in the past. Excuse me, I've tried to. But we had an awesome connection in the airport. I got there early, which was dumb, but it benefited me in this way. And then I was able to, I had this brief moment. I'm thinking, because I went to Made by Google or, store.google.com. And and of course the France page came up and I'm like, here we go. I don't have a VPN installed. I'm going to spend time getting a VPN. And then I'm going to have that thing that happens to me every year where it's like, your device will arrive in December, or they don't even let you pre-order it. Like it's like it's sold out or something, but actually that process was fantastic. So I kind of, I should have ordered both of them, to be honest. I was just thinking that this morning. Maybe I still will. Maybe I'll just go back and order the smaller one too. But I ordered a Pixel XL with 120 gigs of storage, a case, and then I also ordered the $30, non-AI based headphones. I just want to see what those are like. But that notch is
it's ugly. It's bold, right?
It's like Bugs Bunny teeth big. You know,
That's what you should put a little sticker with a little white
put,
line
yeah,
right
let's
down the
put
middle.
rabbit ears on it.
Yep.
You know, um, I got to be honest. I'm not sure I can deal with it, which is why I probably should have gotten the smaller one too, just temporarily, and then figured it out. You know, when I look at the notch on the OnePlus 6, to me, this is it's not obnoxious. It's a good size. They're going even smaller on their next phone, which is coming out at the end of the month. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you the one
So
thing
we'll
that
see.
I am actually very interested in is that Home Hub.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, mostly because I think Google, of all people, is actually starting to understand that, hey, maybe we don't want cameras in these things. Because one, it doesn't come with a camera, unlike Facebook's stupid thing
what
that
I was
they
kind of
announced.
wondering about, though.
There's
So,
no- Here's the reason why, is that
yeah.
it's really, I'm thinking of it more as just a control point for all the smart home crap in my house.
Because I was going to say, the problem with it is you can't do like a video chat on the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what these things are for. And we use FaceTime with all of our family, so that's not going
Well,
to help
I know,
anyways.
but let's pretend you're in the Google ecosystem. Like, you know, so what's the solution then? I know there are smart displays.
Yeah, so basically for $150, you swipe down from the top of the screen and it shows you everything that's connected in your smart home. And so you could turn on lights, you could change the temperature, you could do whatever.
A literal hub.
Yeah, like just a thing like that's sitting in.
Stacy on IoT writes about this a lot. She and it's starting to come to fruition. But what she had been saying 6 months or so ago was that what's missing from these smart home ecosystems are smart hubs. And she specifically called out, you know, Amazon with their platform. They don't have a hub, although maybe they introduced one last week or whatever. Google never had a hub. There are apps that seek to be the hub. You know, Samsung, I don't think they have a hub. Apple certainly does not have a hub, although they have an app-based hub, I guess. You know, that this kind of thing is needed. And I kind of looked at this 6 months ago whenever she wrote it, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure I see this, but I guess I do see the point of it.
And I don't want it for the recipes or the YouTube. Actually, there's a spot in our living room that would sit basically by a lamp. Photos, whatever showing, that'd be great. I actually quite like that. We both use Google Photos. But the idea that you could be laying on the couch and not have to use your phone, or if people are over, they can actually control your house, mostly because when we travel, somebody comes into our house to take care of our dog. And
Do you feel like this thing should be a screen on a wall in the front hallway kind of thing? Like the hub? You can set all your security, set your lights, check your messages. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, that's a thing. Like, I wish my Nest thermostat would do that, but
Right.
this is kind of just, I think, the glue that ties everything. The essentially my Nest thermostat, my Sonos speakers, my garage door opener. I know I'm missing something, and the Hue lights.
Right. Right.
Having something that just ties all that together. That's not a phone. That's just out. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, when's your phone supposed to arrive? Because I got to get going here to another meeting.
Right. I think by the end of next week.
Oh, that's just in time when you're not home.
No, I'll be home by the end of next week. So I'll be gone over the weekend and through, I think we fly home on Thursday. So I should be home for that. And then actually the OnePlus phone is also, I should have one of those the last week of October. I don't remember when their event is, the 29th or 30th or something like that. I don't know. 24, whatever that is. So it'll be an interesting comparison. I am going to trade in my phone. Obviously, I've been desperately waiting to get rid of this phone, so that will help make it a little less expensive. Not as much less as I would like, but I want this to go back to Google. I want this. I could probably get, $75 more if I sold it privately or whatever. I don't want to put this on anyone. Like I can't give this to someone. You know what I mean?
In good faith. Yep.
No, I've had too many problems with these things, and giving it back to Google, that makes it their problem. If they want to refurbish it or whatever they do to these things, they can support that. I don't want someone to come back to me 3 months down the road or whatever and say, "Hey, I don't know what it is, but this USB port doesn't work." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly what it is." So whatever. Yeah, I have to rush out to FedEx today to return this is literally the last day I have to return this thing. Yeah, I have to return it. I have to drop it off at FedEx by October 10th, which is today.
Well, fantastic, folks.
Yeah, good
Well,
thing my plane wasn't delayed.
well, yeah, good. That is true. Well, folks, that wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We should be having a live show at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find out more at thurrott.com/live, and we will catch y'all later.
Yep.